Hello. Ay, my God. Hello, my name is Krishna. I'm a 28-year-old Filipino doctor, and I quit my job as a doctor in the Philippines and I moved abroad to Australia. So I don't know, I guess I just wanted to make this little vlog, documentary, diary thing of why I decided to do this and why I decided to quit my job and move abroad. I've been a general physician since December 2023, and since then I've been working as a physician in a public hospital in the Philippines. I was there for 2 years and 2 months. I ended my employment there last month in February, and I partially moved here. Well, I guess a bit of background is the job that I had at the public hospital was my very first big girl out of med school job, and I really enjoyed it. Actually, I had no complaints at the start. I had the best mentors, the best colleagues, the best nurses. Everyone was great. I'm good friends with all of them, and I've become quite close to my attendings as well. And at the start everything was good, but in 2025 I met my current partner, and he is Australian, and that's why I decided eventually to move to Australia. When we met, I told him obviously that I worked as a doctor, and when we met he was very impressed because he was like, oh wow, you work as a doctor, because obviously in Australia doctors are very well respected, well compensated, they earn well, they just have great respect for doctors and healthcare providers as well. In the public hospital, I was a ward physician, so I was just on call 24/7. So there would be times within the day when I wouldn't be as busy, like in the morning, because I didn't do rounds. I really was just on call if anybody needed me to do paperwork, or if there was a patient deteriorating and I had to see them. That was the work that I did. Or if I had laboratory results or imaging that needed to be attended to immediately, that were urgent, so I attended to them. And yeah, sometimes I would have downtime here and there, so while we were on call he would obviously know when I would be like, oh, I have an emergency, I have everything, or sometimes I have a bad night and I don't get to sleep. That's normal for healthcare workers. I'm not complaining about that, because that obviously is the job. Sometimes it's just a bad day, people are just dying. In the later part of 2025, as it sometimes happens in public hospitals, my salary was delayed for around 3 months. And I think for me, this was really the turning point, because it's not just the salary delay per se that led to this decision. It was the fact that this time I had a witness, and I was a bit more embarrassed and ashamed that that happened to me as a doctor, one of the most noble and respected professions. So my salary was delayed for 3 months, and he knew about it because I was like, oh, my salary didn't arrive yet, blah blah blah. And when it did come 3 months after, I excitedly told him, I was like, oh, my salary finally came after 3 months. Out of curiosity, he was like, oh, how much in Australian dollars did you get as payment for 3 months of work as a doctor in the Philippines? And I was like, I computed it. It was around 3,800 Australian dollars. And I told him to guess. And he was like, oh, I said 15,000. I'm like, no. And he was like, oh, I said 10,000. I was like, no. I said 8,000. No, it's like 5,000. No, and I told him it's like $3,800. And he was quiet for a while, and eventually he said, "That's what I make in 2 weeks." And I know obviously that there's a disparity between dollar and peso, but just the fact that this person saw the work and the energy that I put into my role, there was a witness to all of that, and he saw how much, or actually how little, I was compensated for that. And that's the point where I was like, you know what, you're right. Like, being a doctor, especially in the Philippines, is of course a noble profession. But to be honest, and I think many of my colleagues will agree, with the way that the health system is set up in the Philippines, there just really isn't a lot of dignity in the work, because we are overworked and underpaid. The payment that we do get will oftentimes be delayed. Often we will be asked to do work that's beyond our um, beyond our role, because the hospital is just understaffed, and it's just not a very good place to practice medicine. And since my partner was Australian, I had a very good opportunity to eventually, because we do of course plan to get married and live together and have a life here. And so I had a very good chance of practicing the profession that I so loved and so respected somewhere better. And at the end of the year, last year in 2025, when he was like, "Oh, why don't you quit your job and move here?" Because by then I was really quite frustrated with just how much I was having to overextend myself just for the system to barely work. Because there was a point where I was seeing like 60 to 80 patients by myself in 8 hours. That's no good. At the start of the year, I did quit my job, and I was just like, I'm gonna stay in Australia for a bit. I stepped away at the right time because I was just on the edge of becoming burnt out in the profession that I've worked so hard for, that I studied for many years for, and I almost was burnt out. Almost. And I stepped back at the right time because I still had so much love for the profession. I had so much respect for being a doctor. I still do want to continue to practice being a doctor, but I just want some more dignity in it. You know, some better place to practice the profession that I love. Just wanting to clarify and emphasize that in all of this, I of course don't blame my previous workplace. We were all just the victim of, you know, the inefficiencies and disparities of the health system in the Philippines. I have no problem at all with anyone that I worked with, and I do consider it as, you know, the best possible first big girl job that any doctor could want and wish for, because I feel like I really learned a lot there. I've made lifelong friends from that position, and I really grew up there. It's just that the health system in the Philippines is not very good. It's not the hospital's fault, it's just the system, and we're all a victim of it, and we all deserve better. Everybody there deserves better. I hope and pray for a better Philippines, a better leadership, better everything, so that, you know, doctors who love being a doctor get to practice in their home country, and don't have to leave because they feel it's not enough, or it's not good enough. I guess the second reason that I decided to do this was that I lost my dad at quite a young age. He died in 2020, so I was 23 back then. I know that's not like in my teens or like in childhood or anything, but early 20s is still a pretty early age to lose your parent. Most people lose their parents at like 50 or 60, and they're lucky for them to see their parents live that long. But yeah, my dad, he passed away 5 years ago. I guess since then, I've kind of taken on more of a parent role in my family because my mom was also into her late 60s. So I was the one left behind in my hometown. So I also was the one caring for her and making decisions for the household and making sure everything is okay and just handling most things. And I guess that being a similar role as a doctor, of being like the primary person who looks after another person and makes decisions and is always asked what to do or where to go or how to go about things, there was no break from those roles. Like I was that person 24/7 at work, at home, everywhere, and it just, I guess, became too much of a burden for me. I wanted a break. I wanted to rest. I wanted to be the person who somebody else looked after. And is that selfish? Maybe, but it's something that we all want. We all want somebody to look after us and care for us. I don't expect to like do nothing. Of course, I'm willing to put in my share and my half of the work, but it would be nice to have an equal partner, to be a team in doing that and not just doing it by myself when I felt like I wasn't ready really to take over being the caretaker of my family and at this age. So when my partner was like, "Oh, come here, I'll look after you, don't worry about anything," I grabbed the opportunity because why wouldn't I? Like I wanted to have a break from everybody who needed something from me. I did not want to be asked questions. I didn't want to be asked to handle emergencies. I did not want to deal with problems that weren't mine. That may seem a little bit selfish, but oh well. That's what I needed at the time and what I wanted, and I had a very good opportunity to do that because I had a partner here and he lives in the best city in the world in 2026. So those are the two main reasons, and currently now I'm unemployed, so I'm just mostly stuck at home. I do chores, I do hobbies. I've taken up painting, coloring. I've been reading my books. Just having a real rest and break from just everything, and I've been enjoying it, but also yeah, sometimes I do miss like having a purpose. But right now it's just enjoying this time because it's not gonna last. It's not gonna be forever. It's not gonna be like I'm going to be happy with not working and not practicing my profession forever. There will come a time when I would have to and will want to actually, and it's not now, but it will be soon. So I'm just taking the time to rest, and there's nothing wrong with that. I guess this is also just sending the message of, oh, if you are in my position and you understand what it's like to grow out of or to be burnt out by the work that you've wanted for so long, that you've worked towards for so long, it's not a crime and it's not a failure to take a step back. It's not disappointing to take a step back. I know that especially in Filipino culture, I've seen this firsthand because my relatives and everybody else was like, "Oh, why would you quit your job and like move and like be unemployed and blah 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 and depend on a man, blah blah blah." But it's like, it's not an achievement either to suffer and to just lose the passion and the love and respect that you have for your craft. I think it's important to maintain that, and sometimes the way to maintain it and to come back stronger is to step back. I know I'm very privileged to be able to do this. I know I'm, like my friend said, very well placed to be able to do this because, yeah, I am unemployed and everything, but I am still a doctor. I could still practice if I chose to. I could go back to the Philippines right now and find a job and go into training or something. That part of my life has already been accomplished. I've already become a doctor. It's just at this point I'm choosing not to be, and I'm looking to see if there are other options for me to still be able to practice a little bit of the same, practice my profession a little bit, but just not patient facing or not in the setup that I had before. So just permission for anyone in the same boat as I am to be okay with stepping back. And at the end of the day, if this whole thing doesn't work out, God forbid, I can always go home. And if it does work out, which is equally possible, well, then I will be living with the love of my life and living in a better country and practicing medicine in a better environment with better pay and better benefits and better work rights and everything better. And then it'll work out. And if it doesn't, the only door that closes and never reopens is that of the coffin. So as long as I'm alive, everything is possible. So that's it. I've restarted this YouTube channel to document kind of my life here and how I'm going and what I'm doing, I guess. Also for my mom to see that I'm alive. Hello, wala pa ko nasunod ang drum. I'm looking forward to the next couple of months and I'm hoping for the best. So, see you guys. Thank you for watching.